There are so many channels. How do you know what is right for each customer?
Um, you're right. There is lots of channels. There are some that are expected for most businesses. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn tend to be the main accepted social media channels. So, as a ticking box exercise, those generally would apply to most businesses. What it comes down to is where it goes beyond that. So are we going to use social media as a marketing tool that is going to generate a return on investment for a client? That's when we really start to decide what's right for each client. Rule of thumb, B2C, business to consumer, Facebook works really well. B2B does work with Facebook, but B2C works particularly well. Obviously, something like LinkedIn, very much like a business to business type of social media channel. So that just gives you a flavour of kind of how we would look at things.
Okay, so sometimes we hear reports of people investing a lot of time and a lot of money in different socials and getting very little return for it. Why do you think that is?
Quite simply, no strategy.
Right.
So before you embark on anything, from a social media point of view, the first thing that you've got to say is, what's my objective with this? Now, your objective may be, I just want to get a whole load more followers. And that's absolutely fine. But you've then got to say, what am I prepared to spend to get that? But to me, what are the followers going to do? What's the next stage? So 9 times out of 10, when I talk to clients and really get to the bottom of things, they want a return on investment. They want to invest time and money in social, and they want to get a return. So they either want to get more contacts in terms of inquiries, or they want to get online sales. So in answer to that question, it's about poor strategy, because what you've basically got to say to yourself is, if I do this, am I going to achieve my objective? And you've got to be pretty clear that you are going to achieve that objective if you're going to invest financially in it. And if you don't ask yourself that sort of question, you'll find yourself going into social media thinking that you're going to get something out of it, and what you're doing isn't strategic enough, and therefore you won't get the return.
Okay, so what kind of media strategies are there out there?
Well, let's take Facebook for argument's sake. One of the first things with Facebook that you can do is you can put a pixel, which is a bit of code, on your website. So if I come along to your website and you're selling online, Facebook will pick up what I've been looking at. We can then pay Facebook to remarket that product. So next time your customer looks on their Facebook page, the product that they looked at on your website will appear, and they can click on that product and they can go and buy. Obviously, something like Facebook does require organic posts. So that's posts about stuff that you guys get up to that your audience might find of interest. And organic posts are necessary because it gives your Facebook page credibility, and it is very important for that page to have credibility. Your organic posts don't always generate a return on investment, but they give you credibility. But what you can do with Facebook and other mediums within social is you can demographically profile customers, and that is something you cannot do with Google, or not to the extent that you can do with Facebook. So what we're saying with this is that you might have an audience which is ladies that are 25 to 50 within a 50-mile radius of here that generally buy your type of product that have this amount of disposable income.
Okay.
We can target them specifically with adverts that appear on their Facebook timeline.
Some businesses are saying that paid adverts on Facebook lack a return on investment. Why do you think that is?
Sometimes it's just poor tracking. So they're not actually looking at the interaction that's happening on Facebook and getting proper reporting on it and getting a true picture on it. Again, strategy could be poor. So overall, they're not going into it with the right kind of strategy and therefore not getting the right kind of return.
Okay, so what I get from what you're saying is that I need to consider consultancy and strategy before I commit to any form of social media.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that I think is absolutely paramount is pick up the phone, have a chat with us. We'll run through what your objectives are and the likely costs, and see if there's a business case for doing social, and try and manage your expectations in terms of ROI. If at the end of that process you go off and you do that yourself, or you engage us, at least you'll be doing it with your eyes open. I think the worst thing we can see in this industry is people wasting time and money on something that doesn't give them a return.